welcome to Jigsaw Shed. So while I was at the Chestnut Products Woodturning Weekender in Swindon this year, I managed to pick up another piece of Masasa, and being inspired by the demos and conversations there, I decided to turn a little square dish, but with a twist. So keep watching. So although I have in my head what I'm after, at this stage I'm just using my Robert Sorby 1/2 inch bowl gouge to start exploring the shape and then start creating the tenon for this piece as well. So after creating the tenon, I went back to work on finding the shape of this bowl, and for my idea to work I had to also get an undercut on the wings, but you will see why that is as the video progresses. So this piece of wood was fairly hard, and I did find that I had to sharpen my tools a few times during the process just to get some finer cuts going as well. So once I had the undercut and the shape I was looking for, I could flip it around in the chuck and start working on the top of the bowl. And this time I was looking for a concave shape, but also a little rim where the bowl section was. So then, as I'm going to have to cut more, I just need to mark where that rim is going to be, so that I can then cut down towards it and obviously make sure I don't leave things too thin, but also not too thick either. So once I was happy with the shape of the bottom and the top of the bowl, I had to move on to creating a V into the wings itself, and for this I was using the skew chisel. Now this was the first time I was doing this, so it was a bit nerve-wracking because it could all go wrong, but managed it. Took a while, as it was quite a slow process, just slowly cutting in and shaping that V into the curvature of the wings. So I could maybe have spent a bit more time on these wings just to get them a bit better, but I was happy with where I was and confident that the next stage of the process was going to take out any defects that was left from that turning process. Now this little bowl is going to have a lid, so I made a little ledge for it, the lid to sit on, and then started hollowing the bowl from there. So not only was I using my 1/2 inch bowl gouge for this piece, but I also got to work with my new 3/8 bowl gouge that I bought back at Maker Central from Taylor's Murfield. So it was great fun giving that a go, and it just gave me a bit better control into some of the finer areas as well. And then just for final stage of the hollowing, I used a freshly sharpened scraper to just get rid of any of the lines that were left inside the bowl. And then on to everyone's favourite part, the sanding. Just kidding, I will skip past this, but there was a lot of sanding involved with this piece, hand sanding included. And then it was flip it over into the coal jaws to get rid of the tenon and finalize the shape of the bowl, because I didn't want to have a very wide foot on this piece, so I could refine that down. And then once it was sanded down, I could put my logo onto the base using my laser engraver, but I didn't film that part of it. There's plenty of other videos you can check back on to see how I do that. And then it was on to the next stages of shaping this bowl. But firstly, I had to cut some of it away before continuing to carve and sand this piece. And the Dremel 8-60 came in very handy for this exact task. Now, what I'm doing here has been inspired by a conversation I had at Chestnut Products Woodturning Weekender, and I wonder if you could tell me who inspired me to do this. Please do let me know in the comments of what your guesses are, but at the end of the video I will reveal who inspired this. So once I had the wings to the shape I wanted them and all the carving lines sanded out, I moved on to texturing them. Well, this did cut out on sanding. And then it was just a quick clean with methylated spirits or denatured alcohol to get rid of some of the dust before moving on to making the lid. Now I did try to do this with a little burr piece that I had, but by the time I got it round, it was just too small for what I needed. So I chucked a piece of plum on the lathe. This has been seasoning in my wood store for a while now, and it was about 11% moisture, so kind of where I would be able to get it to, and perfect for turning. It was a lot of fun to turn this piece, and there was a lovely amount of colours in this wood that you will see later as well. So the first part was just getting it all nice and trued up to then start working on the actual shape that I was looking for. And then it was just making sure the outside diameter was the right size for the bowl. Now I did set my calipers just slightly wider than the bowl itself, just so I've got room to play, because obviously I can take material away, I can't add it back. But this will then allow me to keep checking and start working on the shape that I need for this lid. And I decided to add a mortise into the base of this lid, but it will all be decorated as well and just become a feature of the piece itself. So after creating the mortise, I decided that actually I want this a concave shape. So obviously you need to make the mortise deeper to not disappear and have to resize it all and everything. So a quick sand down off the base, and then to add some decoration using the Simon Hope texturing tool. Now I did have a little slip with it, and I caught the edge of the mortise there, and I thought, can I sand it out? No, I would have had to cut it out. So I thought, why not just add more decoration? And I think it ended up working out really nicely. And then it was on to sealing the base of this lid and then finishing it with Chestnut Products Wipe On Poly, which I did about 3 coats, and it left a really lovely gloss finish. Worked really well into the texture. Now this is the first time I used this product, but really liked it and the outcome of that. And then it was flipping it over and start shaping the top of the lid. And I did actually remove a fair amount of material here to get to the shape that or size that would work on the little bowl that I had. Didn't want it standing too far out, but it still needed to be domed. And then it was on to finishing the lid, using cellulose sanding sealer to seal the wood, and then going to my usual finish of using Yorkshire grit to just refine that shine on it before using microcrystalline wax to give it that final protection and buff it up. And then it was just making a little tiny mortise to fit the tiny tenon that I will put on the finial that I will be turning shortly. But before that, I decided to use Rubio Monocoat Oil Plus 2C Pure to finish the Masasa bowl. Now this oil is a one coat application, works really easily and actually left a really lovely finish. So yeah, really pleased with the outcome of this. And then after leaving it for a while, I just had to come back and wipe away the excess oil, and it was all done. And then it was raiding the offcut bin to find this piece of ash that was perfect for what I needed. However, this piece had other ideas. After flying across the workshop, I had to retrieve it, get it back into the chuck, and then using the skew chisel, I had to show it what I needed it to become. Now, I did hand sand the little slants for a very short bit and decided, no, actually, I'm going to use a Dremel, make quick work of this. I didn't mind so much that it was getting burnt there. I did sand it away, but I was anyway going to change what happened here. So firstly, had to seal it, and then using ebonizing lacquer, I coated it black. Now, I probably did about 3 coats to get where I wanted, knocking back the first coat to make sure that I get some nice coverage as well, and I think I had a couple of bubbles in that first one. So now obviously you've got to add some shine to it, so the Yorkshire Grit Microfine worked really well on the lacquer, polished it up, and then finishing it with microcrystalline wax just for that extra protection, and obviously it will protect against fingerprinting as well. And then it was a very quick but careful parting off using the EasyWoods parting tool before I could then move on to gluing it onto the lid. Now for this I did use the O3 Adhesives medium CA glue, and it worked perfectly. Well, there you go, the little square wonky winged Masasa bowl. Now this was a lot of fun to do, and I really love the colours in the plum, and the character in the Masasa is just stunning, and the oil just really brought that to life. Now the whole of this piece was inspired at the Chestnut Products Woodturning Weekender. The bowl itself, I wanted to do something with Masasa again, but I didn't want to turn just another little bowl. I've done that before. So when I saw Katie Armstrong's demo, that made me think, yeah, I'll go for a little square bowl. But then, as I was buying the wood, I bumped into Gary Lowe and we got chatting, and he suggested that I shape the wings, which is something I haven't done before yet. I've done undercuts and all shaping the same way, but never gone different ways with it. So yeah, that was a great bit of inspiration there, and really thank you to him for bringing this piece to life. And then the little finial was inspired by Stephen from Woodturning UK. So do check out his work, some lovely beautiful pieces there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and remember to subscribe to my channel if you've not done so yet. And I hope to see you next time. Take care.